London's official Christmas station is 103.1 Fresh Radio. How you doing, friends? It's Kat Callahan in with you today on this weird weather day, by the way. It's a strange one, and if you're looking forward to a white Christmas, I don't know if we're going to get it. But nonetheless, if you're listening to this station, I'm sure that means you're in the spirit anyway. Scott's going to join us again tomorrow, tell us all about his long weekend. Meantime, coming up on the show, I'll tell you about my weekend and what I ended up doing that I didn't think that I would be doing, which is searching an arena for something. Yeah, I did that yesterday, and it was not a success. I'm going to give you a spoiler alert right there, but I'll tell you what happened to me that I did not expect to happen to me yesterday. And we are also going to talk about gift giving too, because 'tis the season, right? Maybe this is the week that you give your coworkers their stuff, or you, whatever. You have people in your life that you give gifts to. If you receive a gift that you aren't sure is really for you, that you maybe, I'll even say, don't like, I'll tell you what you don't do is say, this is awful, I hate it. But you know, some people do that. It's incredible. And some of these stories that I have here that I want to read for you coming up on the show are insane. Who are these people? It is the worst gift-giving stories that you can imagine. And you can also add to the conversation anytime on the Scott and Kat Show at 1-833-915-SHOW. Let's get things started. We are London's official Christmas station with 1 week to go, friends. 103.1 Fresh Radio. Scott and Kat Show is on. I think there's two types of people. There's the ones who used to sort their M&Ms by color as a kid, and the ones who didn't. I think that's just it, right? We can divide that way. This guy, his name's David Rush. He just got a Guinness World Record here. He proved as an adult it can still matter, breaking the record for sorting peanut M&Ms by color in the quickest time. And it's times like this that I realize there's a lot of Guinness records, and why do we need all of these things? But here we are. It was 17.6 ounces of peanut M&Ms. That sounds like a decent amount. And he sorted all of them by color in 1 minute and 14 seconds. Okay, so that's all well and good. But the guy had been trying this. And I think don't you have to invite the person from Guinness World Records to watch, or they have to be watching live or something like that. So 16 times he already tried it and failed. Until now, though. Until now. 16 tries later, 1 minute, 14 seconds. The previous record was 1 minute, 18 seconds. I think some people just want to be in the book. That's all they want, right? They want their name to be in that book that inevitably, this is the time of year that you see that gifted to people time and time again. You know that giant Guinness one? They put it out every year with new records. So he's probably going to be in next year's edition for that. And he said that Guinness doesn't let you waste food. And they say that specifically when it comes to the eating contest things. They say you have to make sure that you consume the rest of whatever it is you're eating, which is a weird thing. But he said that he still has a ton of M&Ms because he didn't get the chance to divide all of them, but he did hit the record. So there you go. If you have some leftover Halloween candy, which by now I would think it's gone, you could see how you do. You'd have to have a lot, though. 17.6 ounces of peanut M&Ms. 1 minute and 14 seconds is the new Guinness World Record. All right, to each their own. Hey guys, it's the Scott and Kat Show. Scott will be back tomorrow, just so you know, and we'll find out all about his extended weekend visiting his son. Octavia's with me, the Scott and Kat Show producer. How was your weekend, Octavia?
It was pretty good.
Yeah?
Yeah, I went and saw a concert on Saturday.
Okay, and how was that? Good.
It was really good.
Yeah, you're a concert person, right? Do you just basically say yes if anyone's like, hey, you want to go? Are you that person that's like usually, yeah, I'm in?
Pretty much.
Does it depend on who the artist is, though? Like, are you a little picky?
A little.
Yeah,
I get it.
Well, you don't want to waste your time. And also, there's a lot of things that come with going to concerts, right? Like the parking and the paying for the parking and all that stuff. I was, yesterday I was in Hamilton for the Cirque du Soleil show, Crystal, which was really good. Cirque du Soleil, have you ever been to a Cirque du Soleil show?
No, I haven't.
I definitely recommend it. There's so many different kinds, but every time I go to Vegas, I go see it. If it comes to Toronto, I come see it, whatever the case is. This one was on ice. These people are maniacs. Like, they're flipping around on skates. Although their skates didn't look quite like the ice skates that you and I know. Like, they wasn't quite like that. So I'm sure that it's a little more safe, however they managed to do it. But it was so good. So I took the whole family yesterday. And my kids were like really excited about all the candy and the stuff that they had at the concession. So I was like, cool, you know what? Treat yours. What do you want? You can have anything you want. And they picked out You know those like lollipops, like the big, humongous ones that are like rainbow colored.
Yeah.
And I usually say no. Listen, I'm nice. I'm nice to them, and I let them have treats. But I just don't like there's dye in that, so it's just like it's messy. Okay, it's messy. But I said yes. I said, you know what? Whatever you want is what I said. So you can have it. So my kids are licking away at these oversized lollipops, and then when the show was all wrapped up, I took my kids to the bathroom. And then I noticed my 4-year-old, as I'm cleaning her face, she gives me this big smile. I was like, where's your tooth?
Oh my God.
Her tooth was gone. I did not even know she had a wiggly tooth, okay? She's 4. She's not the one that already lost like 6, because my oldest lost a bunch to the point where I'm like, it doesn't surprise me anymore. They're falling out like crazy over there. This one hasn't. I didn't even know she had a wiggly tooth. And then I felt terrible. I'm like, where's your tooth? She goes, what? She didn't even notice it was out.
So you don't know where it went?
I have no idea. I don't know if she swallowed it or maybe it's still stuck inside that lollipop that we discarded because they couldn't eat the whole thing. It was massive. So I threw it out. So I have no idea where her tooth was. And then she was worried. She was like, but what if the tooth fairy doesn't give me money? I was like, duh, yeah, the tooth fairy knows. The tooth fairy's magic. The tooth fairy will know. Don't worry. I don't know. So I'm sorry. If you were cleaning up First Ontario Center or something like that and you noticed that there's a tooth sitting there, you don't have to return it. I don't want it at this point. We're good. But the tooth fairy, I'm sure, will come anyway. But yeah, so it was quite the event. But the Cirque show itself was really, really good, too. So I'm glad you had a nice weekend. Restful, ready to go? Almost ready for Christmas? 1 week away?
I'm getting there.
Okay, what does that mean? You're getting there. What do you have left?
A little bit of wrapping, and I just want to feel more festive.
Okay.
That's the goal.
Well, I don't know if it's the weather that'll make you feel that way, but we are expecting flurries coming our way, and I don't know how long it's going to stick, though. So if you do see flurries on the ground, cherish them for the moment, because I don't think they're going to be here for Christmas.
That's something. Yeah, I'll take it. I mean, if that's all we're getting.
If you're traveling, it's not too bad, right?
Yeah.
It's Christmas time!
It is Kat Callahan. Half of the Scott and Kat show is here. Scott will be back tomorrow. And with Christmas almost here, I imagine there's a decent amount of people who may be doing some traveling or maybe staying in a hotel room as a part of that Christmas season traveling. So let this be, I guess, a warning. I had no idea anything like this would happen, but there's a woman who used a hairdryer at this hotel and she got charged $1,400 afterwards. She's from Perth, Australia. Online here, she said she wants to give a fake name because eventually the hotel did right the wrong, but her name is Kelly on here. She said she booked a room at this place before she went to a concert, and she was getting ready for that concert. So she did what a lot of us do. She took a shower in the hotel room. She decided, I'm going to use this blow dryer, which usually is never that good, right? It's always one of those giving off barely any air at all. So she uses the hair dryer, and suddenly it starts smoking. Something's wrong with the hair dryer. Thankfully, nobody got hurt. But she says it set off the fire alarm, and she was greeted by firefighters at her hotel room door before she even had a chance to get dressed. Now, like I said, everyone was fine. They took the dryer, I guess, out of the room. She doesn't really say what happened at that point, but she does say what happened 3 days later. She says that she received the official hotel bill and her credit card was charged. But as she glanced on it, she was shocked that a charge of $1,400 was added to her bill. So she says at that point, I knew something was weird with this. I called the hotel. I couldn't even tell what this charge was. I didn't understand. You know, sometimes they give like a 3-letter description of what they're charging you for. Maybe to try to throw you off. I don't know. So she calls the hotel. She does the right thing there and says, oh yeah, that's our fire department call-out fee. And she said, excuse me? So she called to try to get them to reverse it, but initially they refused. They said, too bad, so sad. It was in your terms and conditions. If we have to call the firefighters on you for any reason at all, you're getting charged that amount of money. So she goes on to give a couple examples of why this isn't fair. First and foremost, she said, this was not my blow dryer. It belonged to you and something was wrong with it. It's not like I came in and set a fire in your hotel. I didn't. Also, nothing was damaged at the end of the day, just the actual blow dryer itself. And thank goodness I wasn't hurt. She adds, if you're at a buffet though, and the alarm goes off because like you're burning your toast at their serve yourself buffet, are we getting charged for that too? So all in all, the charge is kind of silly, because there's so many reasons why it really wouldn't necessarily be your fault. So she claims that the hotel stopped taking her calls and didn't let her speak to a manager. But finally, after she threatened to go to her local media, that's when they decided to refund the charge. Isn't that insane? So I don't know. Check the terms and conditions. Does anyone do that? I have never checked the terms and conditions of my hotel room stays. Ever. I didn't know. I don't know if there's going to be one for firefighters, but I agree with her on that one. That's not fair. That wasn't even hers. It's one thing if you're careless. Absolutely. If you're careless and you ruin their property, by all means. And also, I realize with the price of concert tickets being so high right now, I couldn't imagine spending more on a charge like that than the tickets for her concert she went to themselves. So there you go. Check the fine print if you have time for it. But just a heads up, it happened to her.
The Scott and Kat Show. Comment and contribute anytime. Text 1-833-915-SHOW. Scott and Kat on 1031 Fresh Radio.
London's official Christmas station is 1031 Fresh Radio. It's the Scott and Kat Show. Thanks so much for listening. Scott's going to join us again tomorrow as we get so much closer to Christmas. And speaking of being so much closer to Christmas, it means our buddy Sven is back. Did you hear this morning? 7:20 every morning is your chance to play. So you call and you get through. You got to be caller 10. You're going to play Sven's Snowy Surprise. You have to tell Fresh Mornings when to have Sven stop shoveling for a prize to appear. Now, regardless of how much he shovels, you're going to be rewarded with amazing prizes all through the holiday season. So we're so happy that Sven is back tomorrow morning. Once again, 7:20. That's your chance to win on Fresh Mornings. All right, we have so much more to come on the show. I want to talk to you about this, guys. Oh, my goodness. The worst gift-giving experience. And I want to hear from you guys on this too. But some of these stories are insane. Let's say you buy someone a gift and you put a lot of thought into it. You put some effort in. Maybe it's money, maybe it's effort, whatever the case is, you give it to them and they're so ungrateful. Some of these stories are nuts. I'll have those coming up for you soon on 1031 Fresh Radio, London's official Christmas station. Octavia joins me. Octavia, I'm reading these and I'm a little obsessed with them. I think we've all been in this scenario in one way or another, where maybe we've received a gift that just wasn't quite us. And there's ways to go about that, right? Especially if that person's right in front of you. The person's right in front of you. They give you a gift. Maybe it's Christmas, maybe it's your birthday, doesn't matter. And you open it up and you're thinking in the back of your mind like, oh, that's not me. But you don't say that out loud, right?
It's a very delicate situation.
It's a delicate situation. What's very nice to do is to just say thank you. Now, sometimes they'll include a gift receipt. And if so, they might be, because I've been there before where I'm like, I wasn't 100% sure, but I'll include the gift receipt. If you want to take it back, I am not offended. Some people get offended, though. Like, some people will get very offended if you don't like the gift. So BuzzFeed put out the question. People are sharing their worst I'll never buy them a gift again type story. Let me give you a few examples of these. This person says their ex-boyfriend offered the gift she gave him back to her. She says, for my ex's birthday, I found some Beatles Lego minifigures, and they combine two of his favorite interests. He loves the Beatles, he loves Lego. But when they arrived, I realized they weren't actually the Lego brand, but I'm sure he'd love it anyway. Wrapped it, gave it to him. Once he realized they weren't actual Lego, he offered it to his 12-year-old brother. His younger brother even looked confused, understanding the situation, and said, that's your gift. So then he offered to gift it back to me if I liked it so much.
That's a fight.
That is, well, they're broken up now. That did not last. How about this one? My friend had 3 boys who wanted to get her a Christmas present. I took them shopping to get the gift, being her best friend at the time. We found a fabulous deal on this gorgeous set of pots and pans. She had been complaining for months about her crappy pots and pans, so I thought this was nice. When I called her on Christmas Day asking how her Christmas was, she started complaining about her terrible present from her children, complaining they clearly only saw her as the chef of the house. I asked where the kids were while she was complaining. She said, they're sitting right beside me. She said, my little one is crying, but that's appropriate. He ruined my Christmas. So she confessed, wow, well, this is completely my fault. I'm the one who took them and recommended the gift because you've been complaining about your cookware. She said, that's no excuse. They should have known better. I was completely gobsmacked.
That lady is the Grinch.
Dude, that's rude. Okay, how about this one? I got to give you a couple more quick ones. The Christmas after my son was born, I was completely broke. I was burned out from being a new mom. I didn't have money to buy my friends and family gifts, but I decided to make everyone homemade presents. I knew my stepmom liked peppermint bark. So I searched for this highly rated recipe. I bought all the ingredients and I homemade it myself. It might have been relatively inexpensive, but I put a lot of thought into it and time. When she opened it on Christmas morning, she made a sour face, claiming, "You should have known. I'm on a diet. Get this away from me." She started this diet, I didn't know, and she didn't want sweets in the house. Instead of just saying thank you and getting rid of it later if she had to, she made a huge deal about how people should have known she was on a diet.
These people are
Who are these people? One last one for now, because I can't wait for your text, guys. My wife crocheted a scarf for my mother, says this person. It took her a month to complete. The next time we went to my mother's house, we noticed little pot holders, the exact same crochet pattern as the scarf. When we asked her about it, she admitted she cut the scarf up into little pieces so she could use them as pot holders instead. You purposely, literally ripped the gift up. That's not what they were. If you liked the pattern, you should have said, you know what I'd love next time? Pot holders too that match this pack. How hard is it?
Nothing wrong with asking.
How hard is it? Listen, guys, I know you've got stories. Maybe you were the receiver of the gift. Maybe you gave a gift. We can keep you anonymous. Totally fine. 1-833-915-SHOW. Let us know your story, whether it's Christmas or birthday, and we'll get to those coming up next. Hey guys, it's the Scott and Kat Show. It's Kat and Octavia here today. Scott will be back with us tomorrow. Man, I love your stories. We're talking about a question that was put out there about gift giving. People are sharing their worst, I'll never buy them a gift again story. People are a little bit ungrateful. For sure, but there's ways to go about it if you get a gift you don't like, right? Like, I mean, okay, I'll be honest. Have I received a gift that I wasn't really me? Yes. I had a friend that once got me shoes, which is always like a risky thing, I think, to get people shoes in general. But they were all blinged out, like they were filled with gemstones. Both sneakers, they were sneakers too, that were just gemmed out. And I think on a lot of people I know, they would look awesome, but they just weren't me. But I was so grateful. Again, I was thankful, and I kept them. I kept them for about 2 years because I thought maybe I will wear them. But every time I went to wear them, I just thought, I don't feel right. I don't feel like me. But there's ways of going about it. And then there's these stories. And we have some text messages that we're going to get to. I'm going to give you a couple more stories here. It was our first Christmas together. I helped my husband choose his mom's gift. She's very materialistic. She likes designer, nice things. So not knowing her that well, but knowing that, I suggested, why don't we get her some nice perfume? So we picked out a bottle of Chanel No. 5. A tiny bottle of it cost $200. I thought that's enough. She opened it Christmas Day and looked at us and said, "Oh, a tester. Nice." And moved it to the side.
Wow.
My mom... This one says, my mom regifted my sister-in-law's present back to her the very next Christmas. She was very hurt by that. People get caught regifting. It happens.
You got to move it at least outside
that
that
bubble,
circle,
right?
Yes.
Remember the bubble. Like, if it's from a friend, give it to a family member. If it's from a family member, give it to a friend. That's it. That's all you have to keep track of. And if you're not sure, maybe don't do it.
Or give it a year. Give it some buffer time.
Give it lots more time. Are there any good texts coming in on this one too?
One texter says, when we were young, my mom printed out these pieces of paper that said, money is tough, times are hard, here's your Christmas card.
That's a mom thing to do, right? Tough luck.
For sure.
Okay, good. Oh man, yeah, there's a lot of good ones here. This person wanted to comment on the scarf pot holders. They say it could have been worse, right? What happened was, this woman crocheted a scarf for her mother-in-law, went to the house the next time, and the woman cut them up into smaller chunks to make them pot holders. Could have been worse. She could have just thrown the scarf out. At least she made good use of it. I guess so, but if you made that thing and it took you hours and that's what they did, that's next level. Thank you so much for your text messages on this. Let's just all remember, at gift-giving season, If you don't like it, you could discard of it when they're not there, but just don't be rude and ungrateful in front of their face.
Hey, this is Scott Fox, and the Christmas season on 103.1 Fresh Radio is in partnership with Ronald McDonald House, Southwestern Ontario, keeping families close over the holiday season and all year long.
Hey guys, it's the Scott and Kat Show. Scott is back tomorrow, just so you know. I'm reading this article. This stuff fascinates me. I have a relative who was an undercover police officer and was involved in many, many different investigations through his many years with the police force. And he has incredible stories. I mean, people who go undercover, it's a very dangerous job. Obviously, they're in very strange situations and they have to play a character for a long time. It's a tough gig. This guy didn't even realize he was kind of going to be working for the police. He's an Uber driver. And one day, a man from Kenya hopped into his Uber in Connecticut. So the story goes, this man from Kenya was a little chatty, wanted to chat with the guy, and he had no problem doing that. Then suddenly, out of nowhere, the passenger asks this Uber driver, hey, do you think you could help me find a hitman while I'm here? And the Uber driver said he was so shocked and wasn't sure if he was kidding or not. So he went along with this whole thing because he's like, I don't know, I can't tell if this guy's serious or not. So he starts talking to the driver, telling him he was very, very mad with his estranged ex-wife and told him a bunch of stories about her, said, I just don't like her. So the Uber driver took all the info that he could, and he asked him, can you write down your information? And how about this? If you're serious, I want you to text me again tomorrow if you're serious about what you're saying, because he wanted to make sure that this wasn't like some kind of a weird joke. The guy, sure enough, did reach out again, confirming he was serious. So police then get involved. This Uber driver went to the cops and said, look, here's the deal and here's what happened. Between September 9th and December 1st of this year, the guy kept in contact with the Uber driver, who again went along with his request. Now, the cops told the Uber driver, okay, you're in on this now. You have to get as much info as you can. We obviously need some hard evidence that this guy actually wants to do it. So the Uber driver kind of had to become friends with this guy in a way via text message. He says they talked almost every day for this 3-month stretch. And then finally, they decided, okay, it's time to meet up. I got a guy. I've got my hitman. I want to introduce you to my hitman. And the man from Kenya was excited, yeah, let's do this. We'll meet at the hotel room. So they met at some hotel room, and he brought his hitman with him, who was indeed an undercover police officer who had a lot of training, extensive training to do this kind of thing. And then once the guy paid both the undercover cop and the Uber driver half the money in advance, that was enough. He was arrested the same day, and he said the man's look on his face was shocked. He thought for sure he made a friendship with this guy that was going to help him kill his ex-wife. He's held on a $5 million bond currently. I don't know what's going to happen to the Uber driver's rating after that, but well done though, man. That's a weird spot to be in. It's a Scott and Kat Show, and if you're just listening now, we are talking Christmas bonuses because there's this real estate company in the UK making headlines after they surprised their employees at the Christmas party with a check. It's a nice one, not bad. All 200 employees received $64,000 as a bonus and didn't see it coming. Very nice. They all had a good year, okay? And it wasn't written in their contracts to get a bonus, nothing like that. The company wanted to recognize the hard work after they met their targets. Da-da-da-da. Great. Good for them. So my nosy question is, what do you get? I know companies work so differently. Every company's a little bit different. Some will give you something small, and the smaller companies tend to do that. Sometimes a bigger company might do something bigger. Maybe it is based off of the work that you did all through the year, or maybe it's just a surprise based on however much they made as a company. And I asked you by text, 1-833-915-SHOW is our number. This texter said we get a catered lunch and $200 in grocery gift cards for our Christmas bonus. That's not bad. That sounds good. Richard says my work gives me $100 per year. This year I got $1,200. Did you mean per month? Maybe that's what you mean. But they do the Christmas party, he says, turkey dinner, and the president's standing there with bottles of wine and chocolates from Germany. That's lovely. Bonuses, says this texter, we get informed if we're receiving one, usually at the Christmas party, but we don't receive it until February. We're told a percentage, but I'm very grateful. I used to work at McDonald's, this texter says. The only thing we got was a free meal. Just a free meal. Like I said, though, every company's different. Some don't give anything at all. Some don't give anything at all. But I don't know if that makes a difference as to whether you want to be employed by a company or not. Another texter says, I'm very grateful for my bonus. I just hate that it gets taxed. Oh, preach. I mean, yeah, it is what it is. They can't do it all under the table. Thank you so much for allowing me to be nosy today. I appreciate that one. 1-833-915-SHOW is our number. You can text anytime. We'll be right back.
Scott and Kat, weekdays from 3 to 6 on 103.1 Fresh Radio.
I bought a scooter.
What do you see, future Scooter Scott? Scooter Scott.
You don't need to call me that.
Scooty Scott. Scooty Scott. Guys, that's a perfect nickname for Scott. Scooty Scott. Hey, guys, you're going to spot him scooting down the sidewalk. Hey, it's Scooty Scott.
And I'm way faster than all the other kids. So in my neighborhood, I'm like...
Eat dirt, kids. Scooty Scott's in town.
Scott and Kat, weekdays from 3 to 6 on 103.1 Fresh Radio.
1 week away from Christmas. I wonder how many people are waiting until this week and then now they're going to do all their shopping. Or I think there's some people that haven't even decorated yet. Some people just do it right before. Hey, that's fine. All well and good, but you do have 1 week. It's Kat Callahan and Scott's going to return tomorrow. And I was curious about this one, guys. A TikTok video, so brace yourself for this. But there's a woman who's revealed a statement she tells men after a first date that always makes them want to marry her. She says the success rate is amazing. Obviously, if she's done this enough times, she has yet to be married, but nonetheless, it keeps them around a long time. Her name's Marina Newman. She admits she's ready to settle down. She's there now. She's not playing games. She's looking for love, all those things. But she will never tell her dates this, in the first few dates especially, of being with them. She says instead, she tells guys that she likes, she'll never marry them. And to her shock, she says the guys always seem more interested and eager than they were at the start of the date. She says she got the idea from Pamela Anderson. Pamela Anderson has that Netflix documentary, Pamela, A Love Story, which is really well done, by the way. Pamela Anderson has been through so many things in her life, but that's one of the things she says. In her documentary, she said, if you want to guarantee you're going to marry somebody, because she would know this, especially when she gets married so quick, she says, tell them you'll never marry them and you'll be married in 6 months. And again, this is from a woman who did get married several times. So she said, I'm going to try this out and see if this psychology works in my dating life. So she says, Pamela was definitely onto something. Over the last 2 months, I've gone on several dates where there just wasn't anything there. So I took a page out of How to Lose a Man in 10 Days, and I tell the guys, oh, you're lovely. I had a really great time, but just so you know, I'm not looking to date for a marriage at this point. I probably don't see this becoming serious. So I want to give you a heads up now in case you want to go looking for someone. She says most guys you'd think maybe would start running for the hills, like, oh, okay, fine. But not in this case. She says rejection does something to their brain. She says the reverse psychology spurs them on to try harder than ever to win her over. Is there any truth to that? I wonder if that even works for people who really want to get engaged with their partner that they're serious with. If you said, I think I like it just like this, I don't think we'll ever get married. Because don't you run the risk when you play games like that? What do I always say? I can't say it fully on the radio, but you play silly games, you get silly prizes. So it could work in the opposite way. Nonetheless, she says try that out on the first few dates at least, and you'll keep them sticking around for longer. My personal opinion, you probably want them sticking around just because they like you, but I don't know. What do I know? Maybe this works these days. I'm not sure. London's official Christmas station is 103.1 Fresh Radio. 1 week countdown is on. So excited for Christmas and so happy to hear from all of you by text at 1-833-915-SHOW. I really appreciate you guys and all your texts. Scott's going to be in tomorrow. And meantime, you can check out the After 9 podcast. I did a podcast solo again today. You can find After 9 on Spotify, on Google, wherever you find your podcasts. You have a place, and that's cool. You can usually find After 9. Just search Scott Kat After 9, and you should be able to find that. I talked a little more in depth about my weekend, the party that I hosted, and also the situation at Cirque, which I mentioned earlier in the show. In case you missed it, my youngest lost a tooth, and I didn't even know it was wiggly. And I think it might still be out there somewhere. And I gave up looking for it. But nonetheless, she was as shocked as I was that she lost her tooth. And I was searching for a tooth for far too long. Nobody should have to search for a tooth for that long. So that story in full, uncensored. Keep in mind, it's always uncensored, is in the After 9 podcast today. Have yourselves a really, really great night, friends. And I'll be right back with you tomorrow. And we can officially say less than a week until Christmas on tomorrow's show. 103.1 Fresh Radio.